Anekant and so forth. इसके पहले कि मैं अपना लेक्चर शुरू करूं, मैं उसका बैकग्राउंड देना चाहूँगा। पिछली संगोष्ठी हुई थी फ्लोरिडा में जैन फिलोसॉफी एंड साइंस के ऊपर। उसके बाद में समणी जी का ये विचार बना कि इस एक्टिविटी को कंटिन्यू रखा जाए, और उन्होंने ये विचार किया कि इस पे एक कोर्स हो जाए एक तो अच्छा रहेगा। कोर्स के ऊपर फिर उनका ये विचार बना कि ये कोर्स जो है, मेरी एक पुस्तक है साइंटिफिक एक्सप्लोरेशंस ऑफ जैन डॉक्ट्रिन्स। तो ये पुस्तक आप देख रहे होंगे। ये पुस्तक 2 पार्ट में है। ये एक ही पुस्तक है, 2 पार्ट हैं। तो इसको आधार बना करके कोर्स की कल्पना की गई, और समणी जी का ये विचार था कि इसके लिए कुछ लेक्चर्स पहले रिकॉर्ड हो जाएं ताकि कोर्स कंडक्ट करने में आसानी रहे। और उन्होंने मुझसे ही कहा कि भाई आप लेक्चर्स बना करके रिकॉर्ड कर दीजिए। तो वही मैं आज आपके सामने प्रस्तुत कर रहा हूँ। और जो विषय आज का मैंने चुना है, अनेकांत इन सोसाइटी, उस पर सोसाइटी के बारे में आचार्य महाप्रज्ञ का जो विचार हैं वो रखेंगे हम। एक बार पहले भी ये बात उठी थी, और ये मैंने कहा था कि आचार्य महाप्रज्ञ जी ने एक पुस्तक लिखी है अनेकांत पे, अनेकांत फिलोसॉफी ऑफ कोएग्जिस्टेंस। इस पुस्तक में आचार्य महाप्रज्ञ जी के विचार आए हैं सोसाइटी के बारे में। ये बात पहले आई थी, तो उसको संदर्भ लेकर के मैंने आज का लेक्चर इस विषय पर रखना ठीक समझा। अब मैं स्क्रीन शेयर करके आपके सामने अपनी बात रखना चाहूँगा। ये स्क्रीन आप देख रहे हैं? हेलो?
हाँ, आइकॉन्स आ गए।
हाँ साहब, दिख रहा है साहब।
जी हाँ। सबसे पहले तो मैं ये आपको बताना चाहूँगा कि हमने 30 लेक्चर्स रिकॉर्ड किए हैं, और उनके टॉपिक्स मैं आपको हरिडली बताना चाहूँगा। आप ये स्क्रीन देख रहे हैं ना?
हाँ हाँ
आ रहा है।
Lecture 1, substance and its properties. 2, number 2, 6 substances. Number 3, soul in Jain philosophy. Number 4, soul in other systems of philosophy. Number 5, space and time in Jain philosophy. Number 6, space and time in Western philosophy and science. Number 7, matter in Jain philosophy. Number 8, Vargana, class of matter and matter in science. Number 9, Jain biology. Number 10, biology in science. Number 11, Jain cosmology. Number 12, modern cosmology and its comparison with Jain cosmology. Number 13, philosophy of multiple aspects, जिसके बारे में मैं आज आपसे बात करूंगा. Number 14, philosophy of multiple aspects, modern science and society. ये 2 लेक्चर आज कवर करेंगे. Number 15, doctrine of karma. Number 16, 7 fundamental truths. Number 17, 9 existences, no padas. Number 18, epistemology, Jain philosophy. Number 19, epistemology, Jain philosophy and Western philosophy. Number 20, philosophy and mind and psychology. Number 21, Jain ethics, Anuvrat. Number 22, Jain ethics, second part, Anuvrat. Number 23, Jain ethics, Gunvat, Shikshavrat. Number 14, code of conduct for ascetics, Mahavrat. Number 25, higher virtues. Number 26, higher virtues. इसमें हम जो 10 धर्म है उसमें से 5 धर्म कवर किए हैं. Environment and ecology. Number 18, yoga and meditation. 29, path to emancipation. and number 330 spiritual development and emancipation. तो ये इस प्रकार 30 लेक्चर हैं. मैं आज जो बात करूंगा वो 2 लेक्चर हैं मेरे, और ये लेक्चर वीडियो रिकॉर्डिंग है. दोनों 40 मिनट के हैं लगभग, तो दोनों कवर करना मेरे ख्याल से मुश्किल होगा आज के समय में. तो मैं ये जो पहला लेक्चर है इसको मैं बीच में ही स्टॉप कर देना चाहूँगा. आप मुझे बता सकते हैं बाद में. ये स्क्रीन पर आप देख रहे हैं. हेलो, नमस्कार. ये दिखाई दे रहा है?
हाँ
बिल्कुल दिख रही है,
चालू हो गया.
साफ दिख रही है.
सर आवाज नहीं आ रही है वीडियो का.
आवाज नहीं आ रही है?
नहीं.
आई डोंट नो क्यों नहीं आ रही है.
वो पहले
आप इसको
बोला था ना.
आप इसको शेयर करने से पहले साउंड शेयर करना पड़ेगा आपको.
ओके 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 ओके.
जब आप वो करेंगे ना शेयर का बटन,
हाँ हाँ हाँ, एक
पहले साउंड शेयर कर लीजिए और फिर वीडियो पर शेयर वो करिए, क्लिक करिए.
हाँ, ओके 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 ओके. लेट मी डू इट अगेन. मैं स्टॉप शेयर करता हूँ अभी. आई एम सॉरी, ये कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स आ गई हैं.
आप शेयर का बटन दबाएं और फिर फर्स्ट जो आइकन है ना.
हाँ ठीक है, मैंने ये साउंड कर दिया शेयर.
एंड देन उस पर आपके लेक्चर पर क्लिक करें.
जी ठीक है, अब आ जाएगा. Namaskar. Today we are going to study philosophy of multiple aspects or multi-aspects, or what we call as Anekant. This is an important principle of Jain philosophy, and it has a widespread application. So we start with a substance. Substances are characterized by infinite number of attributes. I told you this in one of the last lecture also, that a substance has infinite attributes, and some of them may be contrary. Some are referred at one time and some are not. So because there are infinite attributes, it's not possible to refer to all of them at one time. So only some are referred at any particular time and some are left out. An example is given here, a relationship to a person. A person is son, a father, a brother, a husband, etc. Or a daughter is a mother, a sister, a wife, etc. And there is no contradiction in these different statements, meaning thereby that a person is a son and also father. On the outset it looks contradictory, but there is no contradiction. With respect to son, a person is father, and with reference to father, a person is son. And that way the relationship is explained. So this is a philosophy of multiple aspects, So it's a method of thinking and analysis, So how do you think and how do you analyze a situation or a given phenomena is based on the philosophy of multi-aspects or multiple aspects. This philosophy does not accept an incomplete or partial view and avoids conflict between different views, So this philosophy says, look here, in order that you know a substance, you have to look at it from all aspects, and not only a few of them or only a few aspects. then if you do that, it does not reveal the complete identity of the substance. So it is necessary that we have this kind of philosophy and this kind of view, and the partial views are avoided. This kind of thinking promotes open-mindedness, clarity, and impartiality, so that you are not partial to a substance, you know its complete identity. The interrelationship between different modes of the same substance is basic to Jain philosophy. And modes occur one by one, so they are time dependent, but they are not present at the same time. But the interrelationship between these modes is essential, So although the modes are occurring at different times, you must keep in mind, the relationship with the subject or object will have at a particular time or at a particular point in time in future with respect to its own particular nature. So this is important aspect. A system therefore has a unique characteristics. It cannot be solely determined by individual characteristic of its parts. This is very important. If a system consists of parts, we cannot say that we study the parts individually and therefore by summing up, we know about the system. This is not a right view. For example, you take the case of an organism, So an organism is a combination of soul and body, we know. So if you study body without soul, the body would be different than when it is combined with the soul. So you can't say that I am studying the body and therefore I know about the organism. No. If the soul is present in the body behaves in a particular manner. And if the soul is not behaved in the body behaves in a different manner, So the behavior of one particular component is dependent on the behavior of the other component or presence of the other component. Take another example. Suppose a system consists of 4 components A, B, C, D. And if I say that I study all the components A, B, C, D, and by summing up I know the performance of the whole system, well, this is not correct if the components are interrelated. So if the components are interrelated, the system, when it consists of A, B, C, D, the system behaves in a particular manner. If you take out one of the components, let's say D, and now it consists of only A, B, C, now the system performance will be different. Even A, B, C will perform in a different manner in the absence of D, as compared to what they were doing in presence of D. To further illustrate this point, let us say there is a family. You take a societal system of a family, and let's say the family consists of father, mother, daughter, and son. A, B, C, D, 4 components, So jointly, the family has a certain kind of performance, and each one is performing in its own way, but dependent on the others. For example, the father behaves in a particular manner when all A, B, C, D are present. If one of them is taken out, for example, B is taken out, then the father A now behaves in a different manner, and the system behaves in a different manner. So the idea here is this, that the system is an interdependent whole. It's not, you cannot separate out the components in order to study the system. So this is what is emphasized here, that the system is a unique one, and it cannot be solely determined by individual characteristic of its parts. Modern science has proceeded on a different kind of assumption of reality. The modern science, starting from Descartes, what is called as a scientific method, has progressed under two related assumptions. Number one and two, a system could be broken down into its individual components so that each component could be analyzed as an independent entity, and the components could be added in a linear fashion to describe the totality of the system. So here, in the scientific approach, the basic assumption is that, look here, if there are components A, B, C, D of a system, you study each component individually, A, B, C, D separately, and put them together, and you know about the system, This is the approach the science is having. Biologist von Barthélemy in 1928 proposed that both assumptions were wrong. These assumptions which I just now told you, he does not agree with this. On the contrary, in the general systems theory which he proposed, a system is characterized by the interactions of its components and non-linearity of those interactions. The whole is more than the sum of its parts. So this is what he says. And this is what I just now described to you. That the whole is a unique system, It's more than the sum of the component parts. And this is the systems approach, which is very similar to what Jainism has been saying. The philosophy of multiple aspects can be seen easily in conduct of human groups. As I told you, I just now gave an example of the family. Life is such that it fails to express itself in partial vision. It expresses in full vision, and you see the system performance. It's a very important principle of Jain philosophy, which now finds parallel, in the modern day system approach, and this has been existing in Jainism for a long time. So, what we make a statement here now: the universe is complex and comprises infinite realities. This is the universe, And the simultaneous view of totality is highly impossible for intellect, So our intellect has a very limited capacity, It has a finite capacity. So we are not able to comprehend the infinite realities simultaneously which exist in the universe. So it is always a partial view or relative view with reference to beliefs, prejudices, mood and purpose of the speaker. So we always get a partial view of the total reality, and for that reason, different people will have a different view of the total reality, and some of them might be contrary or contradictory, and there will be difference of opinion. In order to overcome this kind of difficulty, Jainism again proposed a different principle called as particular point of view. This is the doctrine of particular point of view, or what we call as Nayavad in Jainism. This is another important doctrine. A constituent of Jain logic is the doctrine of Naya, that is the particular point of view, which enables to apprehend an object from a particular aspect at a time, and also enables us to gain insight in the complex nature of reality. As I told you, the complex nature of reality is such that we cannot comprehend whole of it at a time, so we do it in parts. This is Naiva, particular point of view. And then we try to have the view of the totality. So according to the Jain doctrine, the knowledge gained from sensuous consciousness is partial. This is our limitation, because we use our senses to comprehend the reality, and because the senses have a limited approach or limited capability, therefore our view is always partial and non-complete knowledge of a substance. So we are not able to gain the total knowledge of a substance because of the limitations of our senses. That's very important, And that partial knowledge becomes the subject of controversy. As I told you, different people can have different kinds of view of the same reality. So there are 5 different aspects and there are 5 different individuals. So each individual will have a different view of the reality. And the difficulty is that each one of them will think that his knowledge is perfect, although it is partial. He's thinking that, no, I am perfect, my knowledge is perfect, I know everything. And that others to be untrue, so what I know is true and what you are telling is not true. This kind of controversy comes up in this approach. A well-known example is given here. There are 7 blind persons and elephant, and they examine the elephant, So 4 say elephant is like a pillar because they touch the feet of the elephant. 5th says it is like a broomstick, one who touches the tail. 6th says it is like a winnowing pen, the one who touches the ears. And 7th says it is a wall, the one who touches the body. Now each one is correct partially. There is nothing wrong in what they are saying, but at the same time we know that they are not describing the complete elephant. Each one of them only knows the part of elephant. So each one is examining the elephant from a particular point of view. This is Nayavad. In Jain philosophy, an effort has been made to change this approach and understand truth through right vision, what is called as Nayavad. So we examine the parts and try to arrive at the complete view. Now we make a statement here for Nayavad or for the particular standpoint. Non-absolutistic or particular standpoint or viewpoint or way of approach and observation cognizes a single attribute of an object possessed of infinite attributes. So only one single object attribute is examined at a time. A viewpoint expressing the intention of the speaker or the knower, which takes cognizance of a particular or intended aspect of the object, apprehended through valid organ of knowledge, is a term pramana used, which I'll talk to you later in this part of lecture, and which does not repudiate the other aspects of the reality. Although he examines one aspect of a reality, but he is not ignoring or saying that the other aspects do not exist. He accepts that there are other aspects, but I examined those one aspect. This is very important. Unless you accept that, you try to enter in controversy. So Naya is a point of view, a vision, and a way of thinking. Jain Acharyas have described 2 separate areas for the thought, 2 kinds of Naya system. One is called the substantial point of view, or what we call as Dravyarthik Naya. It's a technical term, Dravyarthik Naya, meaning it's a substantial point of view. That means describe a thing with respect to its ultimate substance, that is its persistence or permanence. So examine or describe a substance from the point of view its permanent nature and not the temporary modes. For example, I gave you one example last time. You have a gold coin and somebody turns it into a necklace, or another person turns it into a gold chain. So basically they are good. The substantial point of view says that, look here, whatever the form, it is gold. The substantial point of view, the description would be that it is gold, whether it is a coin or a necklace or a chain. And then there is a modal point of view called as a pariarchic naya. You describe the substance from the mode point of view. This means describe the thing with respect to its modification. So you are now taking into account the change, the transformation which is taking place in the substance. So the substance is changed from coin to necklace and chain, and so you make a different kind of description. You say it's a coin, this is a necklace, this is a chain, this is the modal point of view. You describe it from the mode point of view. So these two are very important ways to describe the particular standpoint. Both points of views are relative, whether it is a substantial point of view or the modal point of view, they are all relative. Nowhere is persistence completely independent of change and vice versa. So we are not forgetting, when we talk of modes, we are not forgetting the substance point of view. And we talk of substance point of view, we are not forgetting the modes, Yet, in order to get a holistic understanding of existence, this arrangement was deemed fit. So, the substantial point of view analyzes persistence of oneness, but does not completely rule out change, as I told you. As every viewpoint has its own limitations. It does not believe in polemics of the subject matter, So, although we describe the substance from one point of view, we are not forgetting the other. Relativity means that there is nothing absolute, and therefore there is nothing absolute. You can have a different viewpoints. One naya only analyzes a portion of the whole, so naturally the remaining portion too remains allied to it. We are not forgetting, as I said. This perception clarifies the theory of relativity. This relativity is also expressed in this sentence. If you want to now make an expression in words, as many viewpoints exist, as many ways of thought. So you can think or you can view the substance from different viewpoints, and therefore you can have different kind of description. The basis of this argument is its mode. Modes are innumerable, hence viewpoints too are innumerable. You can, if the thing has different modes, you can describe it in different manner. Only does the combination of innumerable parts enables us to realize the substance in totality. So if the substance is known in totality, if all the modes are taken into consideration in making a description, well, that is very difficult. You can't do that. And we'll consider this problem just now. मैं इसको बंद कर देता हूँ यहाँ, सेकेंड लेक्चर ले लेता हूँ, ये ठीक रहेगा?
जैसा आपको ठीक लगे साहब, मतलब मेरे ख्याल देख लीजिए, अभी समय तो है। सेकंड लेक्चर कितने टाइम का है?
40 मिनट का है।
हाँ, तो फिर ठीक है, आप दूसरा ले सकते हैं। हाँ,
ओके।
नहीं, कछारा साहब, मैं
जी,
ये आपने एक्चुअली जनरल ऑडियंस के लिए बनाया है, नॉट एक्सपर्ट्स ऑन जैनिज्म।
ये बिगिनर्स के लिए है ये कोर्स।
हाँ, बिगिनर्स के लिए है। हाँ, तो मेरे ख्याल से आप कंटिन्यू करिए ताकि इसका मतलब पूरा वो हो जाए, मतलब एनालिसिस। मेरे ख्याल से
क्या
एटलीस्ट एक पार्ट पक्का हो जाए, एटलीस्ट एक पार्ट पक्का हो जाए। मतलब
आप देख लीजिए जैसा आप चाहे, मैं उसी को
जनरल नहीं, इसको एक्चुअली मेरा ऐसा है मानना कि इसका जो रिव्यू तो कर रहे हैं ना, जो भी रिव्यू कर रहे हैं
how philosophy of multiple aspects is connected to modern science and society. we start with modern science.
आप लगभग 20
In
मिनट पर
scientific
थे, कर लीजिए आप।
investigations, as
वीडियो
we go
चालू
to
हो गया तो आपका
finer and
आपका
finer
सुनाई नहीं देगा सब।
constituents of matter, it
हाँ वो
exhibits
स्टार्ट हो
more
गया।
and more attributes. Their state of behavior changes,
नहीं, इसमें
so
खाली
much so
टाइम
that
चेंज करने
it
की
is
कह रहा हूँ, बीच
difficult
में
to
ले
be
लें उसे।
certain about any
क्या सर?
inference about the true
कचरा
nature
सर
हमारा
आप
of.
वाला ही चल
एक
रहा है।
मिनट पॉज कीजिए।
हाँ पॉज कर दिया मैंने।
हाँ, इसको ये बीच में ले ली, ये आधा, ये वही वाला पहला वाला कंटिन्यू कर रहे हैं या नया लिया है?
ये सेकंड लेक्चर है।
अच्छा, ठीक है साहब, सॉरी। हाँ
ठीक है, चलने दो इसको।
हाँ, वॉल्यूम थोड़ा सा तेज चाहिए।
ये खोखरना साहब का कहना ये था कि पहले वाले को ही पूरा कर लेते, जिससे हमारा एक चैप्टर अच्छे से मजबूत हो जाता।
तो ये बिगनर्स के लिए है, इसलिए थोड़ा सा इसको क्रिटिकल रिव्यू करना पड़ेगा।
तो मैं वापस पहला वाला लगाऊं?
हाँ पहला वाला ही लगाइए मेरे ख्याल से आप। बिगनर्स के लिए इट शुड बी वेरी सिंपल, मतलब
ये सिंपल ही है।
नहीं मेरे को कॉम्प्लिकेटेड लग रहा है।
अच्छा ऐसा है क्या?
बिगनर्स मतलब जिनको कुछ पता नहीं है, वेरी वेरी मतलब एलिमेंट्री पीपुल। जो एक्सपर्ट है अपन अपने को सब पता लग जाएगा, पर जो आम आदमी है जिनके लिए आपने बनाया है, मतलब मेरे को लग रहा है इट इज अ वेरी सीरियस प्रॉब्लम, मतलब कि इनको बहुत सिंप्लीफाई में बताना है, मतलब
तो बहुत टाइम लगेगा।
This arrangement was deemed fit. So the substance thing, or you can view the substance from, and Vyavharana is the relative point of view. No, it's the relative na, and it cognizes the particular attribute distinguishing the object. So, for example, me. From the Nishchayana point of view, I am a soul, and from the Vyavharana point of view, I am an organism having a body. So when you talk of Vyavharana or the relative point of view, we take cognizance of a particular attribute, that distinguishes the object. So I call my body, but the body is is changeable. The soul can have many bodies. One body at a time. And so from the Nischanaya point of view, from the transcendental point of view, I am soul, So I remain soul, even if the bodies are different. Both Nayas must be used to have a complete understanding. Both points of view must be considered for complete understanding of the substance. Example, to understand soul, as I told you, from two points of view. So Nayavad is warning to philosophers. No system is absolute and comprehensive. It calls for reconciliation of conflicting viewpoints for harmony in the society. For example, religions. So in one of the lectures we talked about soul, and different religions have different concepts of soul, And therefore each religion says, look, I am the best and I am superior. I know the soul in this manner. But this is not correct. Now one has not to fight, The soul can have different kind of perspective. And so you have your own perspective, I have mine, and so on. Okay, you stick to your own point of view, but there is no need to fight with each other, because ultimately they represent the same reality. Now we come to another third aspect of this doctrine, Syadvad. How do you describe the different modes at the same time, So we have seen that the structure of reality consists of both unity and diversity, because substance is one and modes are many at the same time. On the other hand, human capacity for comprehension is so limited that it cannot know a thing in its totality. You cannot describe all the modes simultaneously. So Syadvad emphasizes the fact that no predicate affirmed of a real is able to yield the whole truth about it. It gives us only a partial view of the real. So no predicate of a real is able to yield the whole truth. And therefore, it is always a partial truth. We are not able to view the whole. Syadvad affects the division or analysis of reality and enlightens the particularity of the divided elements. Syadvad is also known as a conditional dialectics. And it says that the system or the logical system of exposition of the object of valid cognition possessed of infinite number of attributes by taking cognizance of a single attribute, but without discarding the rest of the others. So, because we are not able to view the totality at a time, so we do one by one and we describe one by one. But when you are doing so, it's important that we do not discard the other points of view or other descriptions. This is very important. And based on this, there is a science of Saptabhangi. This is very interesting, Syadvad is a method of exposition of the object, and the Saptabhangi is its expression, In how many ways you can express a substance? An object is recognized with respect to itself and with respect to others, as I said. Saptabhangi is based on the recognition that the number of statements one can make about an object is limited, depending on the possibilities of positive and negative attributes, as well as the possibility that the nature of the object might be inexpressible. And combining these then can lead to there being only 7 possible statements. Things like this, a thing exists or does not exist in another form, or we do not know in what form it exists, and things like this. So, based on this approach, what is being said here is it's only possible to make 7 different kinds of statements and not more than 7. This has a mathematical significance and has a great scientific value. So I am making 7 different statements here. It exists with some respect. Take any object, it exists in some respect. So it's in a positive attribution, positive statement, it exists. It does not exist in some respect. Some other respect it does not exist, So it's a negative statement, negative attribution. So the first one is given the symbol plus, and the second one the symbol minus. It exists in some respect and does not exist in some respect. This is also possible. So both, you can have a positive attribution and a negative attribution. Fourth, it cannot be expressed in some respect. Inexpressibility. It cannot be expressed. The things will be clear when I take an example, So, and this is given the symbol 0 or O. It exists, but it cannot be expressed in some respect. So, plus and O. It does not exist, but cannot be expressed in some respect. And minus and O. It exists in some respect, does not exist in some respect, and cannot be expressed in some respect. Then it has plus, minus, and O. These are the only 7 kinds of statements, or 7 different variations of statements, which one can make about any particular thing or particular object. We take an example to understand what I have said. You take a cup. Example of a cup, say for example. And let us say that the cup is made of clay. And so obviously you say that the cup is not made of metal, The cup could be made of clay and could be made of metal. Out of these possibilities, what you have in your hand is a cup made of clay. Now we make different statements for this cup. The cup exists in some respect its form. No, it exists in clay form. So plus a positive statement. The cup does not exist in respect of the other. It's not a metal cup, and therefore you say it's not a metal cup. It's a negative statement. The cup exists in respect of its form and does not exist in respect of the other. So the cup exists as a clay cup and does not exist as a metal cup. So you are making both statements, plus and minus. The existence of cup cannot be expressed in one attempt, for it exists as well as does not exist. Now, if you have to make only one statement, you cannot say that it's a clay cup and not a metal cup, because you have to make two different statements. So this is in one statement, this is inexpressible. You can't express it that way. Therefore, this statement is O. It exists as cup and cannot be expressed in other respect. So it exists as a clay cup and cannot be expressed. If you want to make one statement, then it is a plus and O. And sixth, it does not exist in some respect and cannot be expressed in another respect. So it does not exist as a metal cup. Therefore, negative statement and O. And the seventh is, it exists as cup, that is a clay cup, does not exist as a metal cup or other form, or cannot be expressed. We want to make only one statement. Then this kind of statement could be plus, minus, and O. So very interesting analogy here, and very interesting application of Syadvad in the form of Saptabhangi. We talk something about the valid organ of knowledge, or Praman. What is a valid organ of knowledge? Praman means, is authentic knowledge. So the Praman and the Naya type of knowledge are mutually distinguished for the total and partial approaches of a real, So in the particular point of view, you have described only one aspect or one attribute, but that is not the authentic, because it could have other attributes, and there are other attributes which are not described. So Praman takes into account the totality. So the Praman takes the whole as a real of its subject matter, So what we want to say is the total substance, or the whole of it. The total comprehension of reality is the knowledge, is authentic knowledge, and is a Praman type of knowledge. This may appear to lead to impossibility of a Praman type of knowledge. Our experience testifies to the fact that we are never able to comprehend the totality of reality. This is our limitations because of our senses, and therefore we don't comprehend the reality, the totality. And that means, one has to say that, okay, I do not know, I do not have the authentic knowledge, because I cannot comprehend the totality. What is the way out? So the perfect knowledge, who can comprehend the totality or the whole of the substance, is known as a Keval Gyan in Jain philosophy. Keval Gyan is a state of the soul where it knows the object without senses, transcending the senses. The soul knows the object. Because now the senses are not involved in this kind of cognition, the soul can comprehend the totality or the reality. So this state is reached as Keval Gyan, and we will discuss about it in later lectures. So Keval Gyan then, is the only possibility that, it has the Pramana type of knowledge. It has the comprehensive knowledge. And in the lower stages like us, when we are using our senses, we cannot experience the totality, and therefore we do not have the authentic knowledge. But in the Jaina works, along with the Keval Gyan, sensuous knowledge or the scriptural knowledge like clairvoyance and telepathy have been enumerated as yielding pramana type of knowledge. Because if you take this view that only Keval Gyan knows the totality, then we are forced to believe that, of course, we don't know the totality, but this is very difficult to accept, because one can say that, okay, I am seeing with my own eyes, and this is the reality. So Jainism has accepted this view also as a valid organ of knowledge in a limited manner, So there is a direct perception or the perceptual cognition of pratyaksha. This is of two types: sensual perception, the perception made through senses, directly through instruments, and non-sensual perception. So non-sensual perception is again of three types, and we will discuss these aspects later on. The perception through clairvoyance, perception through telepathy, direct perception through omniscience, and so on. This aspect we will consider later on. Then there are indirect perceptions. This is of three types, which is inductive reasoning or logic or inference, anuman. So we try to have some kind of inference, in order that we grasp the reality. The existence of a substance or a thing is decided on the basis of existence or absence of another thing, possibility. So this is also considered as a valid organ of knowledge. What is implied here, by looking at one thing, you try to guess at the other thing. For example, you look at smoke, and if you look at smoke, you guess that there must be fire, although you have not seen fire. So this is the kind of inference. This is known as inference, So many of the scientific observations which are effect of a phenomena fall in this category. So many of the scientific observations are inferences, We draw inferences in many cases. Then analogy, a comparison, and the scriptures, written records of the teaching of the omniscient, they also are indirect way of knowing things, So I stop here. So what we have done today is the study of the philosophy of multiple aspects, saying that the reality has multiple aspects, and it can be described when only all the aspects are taken into account. And then we said that this is not possible, so we come to the particular point of view, Nayavad. Then we come to the point that how do you describe this? Then we come to Syadvad, Saptabhangi, and then we have discussed what is the valid organ of knowledge, what is Praman. So two types, one is omniscience, of course, the perfect knowledge, and the imperfect knowledge also is taken as a valid organ of knowledge with certain riders, so on. Thank you. अब क्या मैं दूसरा लेक्चर ले आऊं या यहाँ बंद करूं?
ये मेरे ख्याल में पहले क्वेश्चन आंसर ले लेते हैं इस लेक्चर के ऊपर, और फिर समय अगर बचेगा तो फिर दूसरा ले लेंगे, क्योंकि 8:30 होने वाले हैं.
ठीक है.
हाँ, तो
मुझे तो
जी सर,
मेरा ये पर्पस इस लेक्चर का यही है कि एक सैंपल दिखाना था कि लेक्चर से रिकॉर्ड हुए हैं, तो एक लेक्चर जैसे आज हमने देख लिया, तो आगे और जरूरत पड़ेगी तो आप बता दीजिएगा. एक सैंपल ये तो वैसे
मेरा एक बेसिक नहीं, ये कचरा साहब, मेरा एक बेसिक आर्ग्यूमेंट ये है,
मैं इसको बंद कर दूं, अगर नहीं ये स्क्रीन स्टॉप शेयर कर दूं मैं,
हाँ,
अगर नहीं करना
ना
आंसू?
रखिए ना, रखिए, क्या दिक्कत है, क्या दिक्कत है, रखिए
अच्छा,
तभी देखें अगर
ठीक है,
तो। मेरा
ठीक है।
मतलब बेसिक आर्ग्यूमेंट है कि ये जो लेक्चर जो अपन अपन ये बना रहे हैं, ये किसको एड्रेस कर रहे हैं, ऑडियंस कौन है, किस टाइप की ऑडियंस के लिए है, मतलब वो पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू जानना बहुत जरूरी है, मतलब किस ढंग की
बिगिनर्स,
ऑडियंस के लिए है।
देखिए बिगिनर्स हैं या स्टूडेंट्स हैं जो यूनिवर्सिटी में ऑफर करना चाहते हैं कोर्स?
तो वो मतलब ग्रेजुएट होंगे या अंडर ग्रेजुएट?
ग्रेजुएट स्टूडेंट्स होंगे, मास्टर
हाँ,
लेवल के स्टूडेंट्स होंगे।
मास्टर लेवल के।
हाँ
अच्छा, किसी भी डिसिप्लिन के?
हाँ, किसी भी डिसिप्लिन के, यहाँ पे वो नहीं है, यहाँ पे तो किसी भी डिसिप्लिन से आते हैं कोर्सेज के अंदर। सो हमें बताना है कि साइंस और फिलॉसफी किस तरह से एक दूसरे से पैरेलल कहाँ है, कहाँ डिफरेंसेस हैं, और जेल का अपना क्या स्टैंड पॉइंट है।
नहीं,
तो
ये फ्लोरिडा यूनिवर्सिटी के लिए बनाए गए हैं या किसी के लिए भी चलेंगे?
स्पेशल ये ICSJP डेलीगेट जितने हैं उन लोगों को भी, चूंकि जब जब ये कॉन्फ्रेंस हम ऑर्गेनाइज करते हैं तो साइंटिस्ट की ओर से भी डिमांड आती है कि आप जेनिज्म का हमें थोड़ा सा इस विषय में नॉलेज मिले, साइंस और जेनिज्म किस तरह से एक दूसरे के नजदीक हैं, तो वो थोड़ा हमें लेक्चर्स मिलने चाहिए ताकि हम उसको पहले जान ले और उसके बाद में हम अपना ओपिनियन रखें तो ज्यादा अच्छा रहता है। तो ये ICSJP के जितने भी डेलीगेट्स हैं उनके लिए भी है, और प्लस यूनिवर्सिटी का एक मास्टर लेवल का कोर्स भी के रूप में भी डेवलप कर रहे हैं।
अच्छा। नहीं, मेरे को थोड़ा कॉम्प्लेक्स लग रहा है, मतलब, और मेरे ख्याल से क्या है कि कुछ एग्जाम्पल्स होने चाहिए, मतलब हर एक को एक्सप्लेन करने के लिए, मतलब मेरे को लग रहा है काफी, मतलब इस स्टेज पे जो बिगिनर्स के लिए है, इट में
वो टेक्स्ट बुक डिटेल में पढ़ने के लिए उनके साथ में टेक्स्ट बुक रहती है। प्रेजेंटेशन में तो उतना डिटेल में जाने से लेक्चर बहुत लंबा हो जाता है, उसे कोई नहीं सुनना चाहता फिर। तो ये टेक्स्ट बुक पूरा डिटेल में उसे समझना है तो पूरा एग्जाम्पल के साथ में कचहरा साहब की पुस्तक बहुत इजी लैंग्वेज में ही है, और यहाँ के स्टूडेंट्स का लेवल बहुत अच्छा होता है, सो दे पिक अप वेरी वेल।
अच्छा अच्छा, मेरा यही कंसर्न था कि इट शुड नॉट लुक वेरी कॉम्प्लिकेटेड, मतलब सिंपल और विद एग्जांपल्स। मतलब एग्जांपल से क्या है कि सीधी, अब आजकल जैसे IIM वगैरह ये सब में केस स्टडी पे बहुत फोकस करते हैं, मतलब जैसे केस स्टडी से क्या है कि एकदम से बात आराम से आदमी के दिमाग में चली जाती है, मतलब तो उसके अंदर कुछ केस स्टडी टाइप कुछ एग्जांपल्स हो प्रैक्टिकल, तो मेरे ख्याल से इट वुड बिकम सिंपल, मतलब